Hey, how are you guys doing? This is Shamika with Dear Shamika, and I'm here with Valencia Mormon Nelson, and we are going to talk about staying encouraged during times of trials. So, Valencia, before we get started, I know you have a book coming out in 2023. We want to talk about what month is coming out, what's the name of your book, and what can people hope to get from reading your book?
Well, I'm really excited, Shamika, first of all, to be on Dear Shamika. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, we're finally here. First of all, I tell you, I when I think of life, I look at many of our young women and older women, period, and I see especially our Christian women, and I see the conflicts that they have within themselves when they're trying to choose to live life according to the path that God has provided to us in his word, yet they are also drawn away by the things that the culture is saying that they should do. So when you're living in that road of conflict, it's often very hard for many of our especially our Christian women. And so I wanted to take some time to write a book that will help, I hope, to guide God's daughters back to his word. Also put them in the place of understanding that they're already on the winning team, and to understand that God has already laid out the plans, and we don't have to worry. We don't have to be confused, and we have to always remember to trust in his way. And I think sometimes it's the hardest thing when we're standing in the midst of these storms is to trust in God. So the whole basis of that book is just revisiting God's way for our lives, and to not let anything throw us off of our game because he is with us. At this moment, I have not decided on the title, but by the time this airs, I will definitely have the title, and I'll make sure that all that information will be on my website, which is called Mounted with Wings Women Ministries.com, and they will see all of that information. But out of a lot of conversations, even today, Shamika, before we started, the show today, I had some very deep conversations with women at a birthday party I just went to. When I say it got deep, and and the next thing I know, we are talking about God, we are praising God, we are asking each other for prayer, we are asking for encouragement and lifting up, and this is just the way it has been almost every day for me when I encounter women of the Lord. And even if they're not in the Lord, they're just trying to figure things out. So I know that it's needed, and I want to, you know, be able to share some of the things that have helped me through my journey, you know, and that's what this is all about. I think Donna McClurkin once said that his sister has said that Christianity to her was was like when one beggar tells another beggar where he got the bread. And that's what I hope this does.
All right. Staying positive during adversity, like how do you do it? How do you stay positive? I know it's because of your faith. And what makes your faith so strong?
I tell you, it took many years because we do have to practice it. I They have to explain that uh, faith is like an exercise. I know I was speaking at a conference last week, and I told them you have to do what I call faith lunges. Anytime things get hard, you have to do some faith lunges. Lunges help to shape up that whole lower part of your body. Well, faith lunges help to shape up that spirit. And God told us that we have to hold up that shield of faith. And the purpose of that shield of faith is so that we can protect ourselves from the fiery darts of the devil, which means the things that come at you from the left and from the right, from the top, from the bottom in this world. You have to learn how to withstand it. Not that you have to take everything and let things break you down. No, faith is to help keep you solid. You have to have God first of all, so that you'll know where to go to have that protection. His peace beyond understanding, he said that he would give to you if we ask for that. And that peace beyond understanding, Shamika, his word said, can guard your mind and guard your heart. It took me some time to understand, well, what does that mean to guard my mind and guard my heart? Because my mind is thinking of everything and my heart is feeling everything. So I don't know how to do that. And you know what? Is the more I start trusting in the things in the things of God's word, and allow them to become a part of me, no matter what the circumstances are, the more I could begin to understand. Oh, this is how it guards it. It keeps you from worrying at night because somebody said that you're going to lose your job, or you did lose your job. It keeps you from worrying at night because somebody said, well, ask you how you're going to make the next house payment if you don't have your job. You know what? You have to stand on his word. Faith is standing on his word. When he said, my God shall supply all my needs, we have to believe that and know that. But you have to be in a place of preparation. If he's already given you a job to have for 10, 15, 20 years, and you have to understand his word on how to manage money, right? You manage money by putting it up in the good seasons. So when the scarce seasons come, you'll have something there. That faith works in that as well, because when the time comes, somebody said you're not going to have a job. Well, at least you got a little nest, and I could pay these bills for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and I know I'll be okay because I follow God's principles. And that's so you have to look, you have to be involved, and you have to be active as well. Like I said, not only in the seasons that you're distressed, but also in the seasons that are great. You have to use the wisdom that the Lord is telling you. So that's what I have learned, Shamika, is to truly trust it. Because it's like, where else will I go for certain type of advisement? Usually if I go to a place where a person is a pretty wise person, they give me good advice, I can guarantee you it's already written. It's
Mm.
already written in that word. Nothing new is under the sun. So, but you have to do it. And sometimes folks think that, well, if you have faith and that means nothing in your life goes wrong. Well, God lets us know that faith is also a tool that has to be tried. So we have to be tried and tested sometimes, so that not only the faith can be built up, but so patience in this life can be built up as well.
How did you go about building your patience?
Well, that was my biggest struggle, well, for some years, because I'm a fixer. Anything happens, I want to be able to fix it right now. I want to do it. I got a solution and I want to be able to do it. Um I've had some times, of course, where I would cry. I'm like, wait a minute, because this is not working. It's not coming along the way I wanted to come along during the time frame that I wanted to come along. That type of thing. And the next thing I know, it's like, well, Valencia, you can't, you don't have the answers. And I'm going to have to be okay that I don't have the answers to some things. And so I have to learn I learned how to talk to God and literally ask him, tell him, Father, forgive me because I'm asking you to be Lord over what's going on in my life, but yet I'm the one still want to do the directive. And so it can't be two lords. Either I'm gonna have him to be the Lord of it, or I'm going to be Lord over it. So when I learned how to separate myself from the, whole, take me out of the picture and say, Lord, I trust you. For example, before I came to where we were working now, I was working at this other place, and I remember the things that gotten so. I had never been in a place to get that bad, but the things that really get shabby. And I'm sitting there one day and I'm looking at the conditions of the environment, people who are unhappy, folks coming and going, walking out, some, it was like I'm like, this is a stressful environment, you know, not the work, but just being in the presence of this imbalance each and every day. So, a true story, I remember sitting in that office and asked the Father, I said, you know, Father, I said, I've come here. I know I've done what I could do, and I think I've done what I should have done. And I pray this place can will flourish. I really do because the community needs it. However, it's no longer a place for me. And I asked them, will you look upon this earth and find a place where you know that I will thrive and that I would do well in. Because I want to continue to work. I want to continue to help people. I want to continue to be in a place where I'm fulfilled. And I said, and you could look at my heart, because God looks at the heart. I said, there's no anger, it's no jealousy, it's no hatred, it's nothing there. It's time. If you say the same, then it's time. The next day, I got this job. So when I tell you it's Shamika, because when you learn how to let go of trying to fix things that you just don't have the power to fix, let him do it. Trust him to do it. That's why he said, trust me. You know, trust him to do it. But he said you can give him your plans and let him direct your path. And that's what I truly have learned to do. I really have. But that was a hard road because and I was impatient many days leading up to this point in my life. Many days. Because I'm like, what's going on? Come on, we need to do this. Come on, right now, this you know, and it's like he's not going to move. Period. If it's not time, he's not going to move. And I had to learn that the long way, you know. And but it's now for me. It's okay. It's like now, what are we gonna do today, Lord? Me and you. What are we gonna do today? Show me what I need to do tomorrow, or next month, the next year. You know, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's more. As a matter of fact, I'm more excited now than anything. But in the past, no, it wasn't exciting. It was almost painful because I'm like, you know, this is not happening the way I wanted to happen, and I wanted to dictate, and we can't dictate. He, we ask him, he says, okay. He said, cast your cares on me. He said, you know, and he will care. He'll take care of things for us. He didn't say cast your cares on me, then you try to get them all back and then tell me what to do. You know, so I had to learn. Absolutely.
How do you in the midst of, let's say, we do live in a society where people will say things to get others out of character. How do you
Mm.
stay in character despite challenges that may come your way from people trying to take you out of character? How do you just give it to God and stay in character during times of adversity?
Wow, that's a great question, Shamika. That's another area again, practice, because doesn't just come. It really doesn't. Um, that's another part is to understand, you know, the faith that you build and the patience that you build. Faith, then patience, they work together. And also you have to ask for wisdom. I learned probably when I was in my 30s to start asking God for wisdom, because in the book of James, he says he'll give you wisdom and he'll give it to you liberally and upbraideth not. That's something God will give you volumes of if you ask him. And the wisdom of God, again, is his way. So when you are confronted with a person who are, you know, who says things to push the buttons, and Lord, yeah, you know, you'd be wanted to, like, okay, the first thing I want to do is go back because it's natural. And I tell people, I said, y'all, Christianity, our serving God is unnatural. And some, you know, because and our minister used to tell us that he says it's unnatural. And people used to be like, what do you mean? But it is. He said, if somebody slap you, you turn the other cheek. What? You know, we can't even imagine that, can we? Like, no, they slap me. I'm gonna slap her. You know, people say, I'm gonna slap her back. Because that's your natural response. But it's so your natural response when somebody invades your space and say ugly things to you. Of course, you want to defend yourself, and you want to say things back to get them away from you. Well, I tell you, from from my practice, and again, this is over time, Shamika. It really, really is. From my practice is I one day this person was just whoa up in arms. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just wanted to say, if I could choke them and get away with it today, I probably would. I was just so mad. But I said, but Father, hold my lips. Because I'm like, what are you so upset about? And then that's when I had to calm her down, self down on the inside and said, Father, can you help me to see this person through your lens? Because it's I don't understand. And that's when I kid you not, I felt a peace there, even while they're doing all of this. And I because I truly wanted to understand. And that's then the next thing was, Father, can you tell me what to say? Because I don't want this to continue to escalate, and I don't want it to, if this person to walk away and we have things unresolved. So it came to be that I was actually able to stand in that moment and truly be okay and actually hear that person. And it surprised me when the words that did come out of my mouth were absolute calm, and it brought them, they went from here to here, and we actually were able to talk. And it takes because I know in our society, uh, no matter what your race is and all of that, I don't care who you are, people are just flying off the handles
Mhm.
because they can't listen to each other. And I know that the Lord told us, Shamika, to be slow to speak. I mean, and quick to listen. So I had to practice that. Again, his instructions are in his word. If we read his word on how to handle anger, he said you could be angry, but he said, but sin not. We don't have to curse back. We don't have to, call people, ugly names. Even if some people know how to curse you without using curse word, they can say it's a combination of words, and people you'll be like, oh my god, what did they say? But and you don't have to put your hands on people. And we have to have that self control, and that's what he expects of us. So, but when you know that you can't do that in your own strength, it's okay. Because I hear many people quote the scripture when they say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But they're usually talking about, something materialistic. God is a spirit. And those are the spiritual things that he's talking about. Is that he can strengthen you in that time when you want to go against every fiber in your being to get somebody back or to say something out of the way or to be ugly and all of that type of thing. And but that's the time you ask him, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Help me to see this through your lens. Bless me, Lord, to be able to hear this individual and not, and not speak quickly. That don't mean that there's sometimes that you may be in the situation where, you know, uh, you and that person may not resolve too much because they may just be too angry for many other reasons or what have you. But at least you walk away and you walk away okay. Nobody's dead. Nobody's shooting at each other. Nobody's breaking out a knife or hitting each other. All of that type of thing. It's self control, in actually allowing God's way to take over in you instead of your way taking over the way that He has prescribed for us in this situation.
Okay. When did you identify that your faith was, I don't know, like, was your faith always strong or was it low at some point? And if it
Mhm.
was low, how did you realize, hey, my faith is not where it needs to be? I need to work on it. And if so, what progressive steps did you take to strengthen your faith?
That's a great question. I know that I began to see God when I was in probably about 20, maybe years old, and and so I just wanted to know how to connect because I really didn't. I've been to churches and things like that, and I didn't understand because I went to different ones. We had maybe a Baptist and AME, Methodist. And so every environment was a little different. So I just didn't understand fully, what was going on. And I'm a person who loves to read. And so when I did meet these two ladies who were at a job that I was working at, and they were of the faith, they was of the Church of Christ, and so they was given. I had never heard of them, and so, but they were like, well, just read the scriptures. And I was like, we got a Bible, but we don't read it. That Bible sitting on the shelf with a bunch of with some dust on it. We weren't reading it or anything. So I remember that when I first went to that to visit to one of their services, and I was like, okay, this is all they use is this book, and so I liked it. And so I started going to their Bible studies and everything. And that's when I began to take personal interest, and actually beginning to study the word. And to me, for me, I really believe that it really is a living word. It's just like food and nutrients for your body. It's food and nutrients for your soul. It really is. And so that was my first step, was to begin to study the word on my own, and to allow it to permeate through me. The things that I believed that were incorrect, or that were wrong, or whatever, anything that was in me that I knew, I later found out was not God's way, I would allow those things to be challenged in me. And over time, began to slowly but surely, switch over from my way of thinking to the way that the scriptures, taught me to think about different situations. From there, I began to develop, a love for it. Um, More, I saw my love and interest in people grow, because I used to, I always liked people, but I wasn't the person to be around them a whole lot, because I didn't know how to uh, handle situations. Like, for example, if I'm invited to a dinner, and you see ladies who are there at the table talking about the host that invited them to the dinner. That type of thing. I never liked those types of things, and I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to handle those situations, or understand what to feel about it. It used to make me angry, because I didn't. I was like, oh my goodness, they so fake. How can they eat at the lady's table and they talking about it at the same time? But the more I began to grow in the word, I began to understand the characters of people are very different. We all trying to figure life out. Some people grow up in communities and households where that type of thing is acceptable. And it's not for me to become angry about it. But if somebody approach me, I have to ask the question, how is it that you can be here in this person's household, and yet you talk about it the way you did? How would you feel if you invited us to in your house, and this is what your guests do to you? That type of, if you ask, I think that you have to address it. That was hard for me, addressing situation, because I didn't like conflict. And I knew that they probably would take it as conflict. But God said that we have to, use the word to help to correct not only ourselves, but other situations, especially if we are saying that we're God's children. I believe in God and they believe in God, and you come and say that, well, do you think that that's of God? And it's not something to make that person angry, but to hopefully to help them to think. Because I had people in my corner who could correct me, on things. And I knew that they had the wisdom of the Lord. And I knew that they meant well. And the way that they approached me, you couldn't do nothing but respect it. And, and help to examine yourself. So I learned how, to do that as well, and not to be afraid to address issues that God said we have to address, not only within ourselves, but within our environment. And then you have to be okay with the consequences, because sometimes you may lose quote unquote friends, or you may lose, you know, acquaintances, but you have to be okay, because God tells us to plant the seed. That's what's important. He said somebody else will probably come along and do the watering. And he lets us know, don't, but we don't have to worry about the increase, because he said, I do the increase. So we just have to be obedient to what he has told us to do in every situation. So just taking those steps, you know, of studying, because it is the word of God. I do truly believe, I do truly believe it with everything that I have. You know, take the time to, you know, to not be afraid to correct those things in your life that you know is in transgression against the Lord. And don't be afraid to speak out if when it's time, and if it's time to speak out about things that you know that are causing corruption within you know, your environment. And also be mindful that you are not the vessel that's causing corruption, but you know, and you have to handle that. You got to self-regulate. Also be in a place where no matter what, you stand in praise of the Lord, no matter what's happening in your life. Believe that he deserves the glory for everything in your life. When you have money, and when you don't have money, when you have a car that works and when you don't have a car that works, know that he's got you no matter what, because he didn't put us here for the things. He put us here for the purpose, and for the purpose of his kingdom. And just practice obedience in every word. Practice it, because some areas of obedience in your life will be easier, and some areas will be a little harder. It just depends on where you are in your life, whatever it is that you know that you're having trouble with in your you have to obedience come when you surrender to him. When you allow yourself to fully surrender to him, you're not going to listen to any other person, any other entity in your environment, including yourself. You're going to listen to him. God told us that if God is for you, who can be against you? And you have to believe that. And I believe that the one who has a heaven and a hell for me, so that's who I'm going to go with. I'm not rather than nobody else. And that's where I am in my life. I really truly am. I can't ride with nobody else but him. Yes, ma'am.
To someone who's trying to start their faith journey but doesn't know where to go, like what would they do? Like who would they seek? What would they do?
I would encourage them to kind of do what I did was, if they're not already in Christ, I'd encourage them to go and try, you know, different churches to see what works for them. All right, but they got to be Bible based church. It has to be. If they don't study the scriptures, or that's not what they are, then I wouldn't suggest being there. But but I would say definitely do that. If they have friends or family members, or a family member who they know and who they've seen walk a walk that was different from other people in their lives, and they never talk to them anyway, because people talk about them. They say, but they think they're holier than thou, or this, that, and other. Go and talk to that person. Go and talk to that person. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, because that's what they're equipped to do in the Lord, is to help others, you know, on their faith journey in God. So definitely linking with, you know, with other Christians, and you know, studying you know, that word, not being afraid to allow yourself to be vulnerable to God, and trusting in him that he will help you, you know, to build up that knowledge and build up that understanding, so that you could be fully equipped to do the work that's good and right for you in his glory. Um, Bible classes, don't run away from them. Run towards them because you get some many Bible classes have great teachers, really great teachers, and you are there. Bible classes are interactive, and so that's an environment where you usually can ask a lot of questions, face to face, and you can search the scriptures, in real time together with other people, and and learn things. So yeah, definitely, I think those are some of the key things that you could do, the core things that you can do to help, get started in your faith. Um, find, like I said, find your Christian person that you could talk to, that you've actually seen their life is a little different. The way they talk is a little different than what you're used to hearing. The things that they say or the music that they listen to, it's a little different. I think that you'll be, like I said, don't be afraid to approach them. Talk to them. And like I said, find your good Bible-based church. Go to your Bible classes. I'm telling you, just like on a job, they have uh, like all this training material. Let's say you have this training material, so you could become a certified such and such and such and such, and all this type of stuff. God, look at God's word as your training material for life. That is, I call it the policies of heaven,
Mm.
for your life on earth. And I really believe that, because where did the policies and laws and all of that stuff come from? Anyway, it came from God. It's not man made. It's not. It's God designed. And so, but I equated to that because we can't stay. Even if a person says, "Well, I don't believe in God," and I don't, well, you can't stay, and you can't stay. You're not staying on earth whether you believe in them or not. You're not staying. So I encourage you to find those instructions, to help you make your journey from this life into the next life. So I really believe I'm a stickler with that word. With prayer and with studying those scriptures and being in the environment in the community of like-minded folks who have been there. Some people, I hear a lot of word people talk about church hurt. I hear that a lot. In some of the stories I hear, it breaks my heart that many people have encountered folks who are supposed to be in the body of Christ, and they've been absolutely rude or terrible to folks, or hurt people in ways that's unimaginable to me. It really is, and then people run away from it instead of running towards it. But I'm telling you, you have to observe people and to ask God to help you, to help link you with individuals who are stronger in Him and who are sincere in Him, and they're not those people that are who are really not even spiritual, to be honest, because something has happened. They've gone a whole different direction than what they're supposed to have gone.
Mhm.
So I do encourage that people can help you, people can support you, but it has to be the right minded folks, and you can tell about, like I said, about the way they talk, the way they act, the things that they do, you know, you can tell, and just go talk to them, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything? So we're wrapping things up. Is there anything you have left to say before we wrap things up?
Well, Shamika, all I have to say is I'm very happy that you have did this broadcast. I'm so glad to have been a part of it. This is a passionate belief of mine, and I hope that some of the things that have been shared today will be helpful. I do want to tell people that I do have a TikTok. I'm trying to be better on it, but I do have a TikTok. It's the Mounted with Wings women's TikTok. And so you can find me on there. And you can also find me on the Mounted with Wings Women Ministries Facebook page. And like I said, and also by this time, you'll be able to order the book if on the Mounted with Wings Women Ministries .com, www.mounted with Wings Women Ministries .com. So I'm excited about all of this, and I thank you so much for the invitation.
It's no problem at all. And good luck on your book. You guys go ahead and buy that book. By the time this broadcast, the book will be available. So go ahead and buy the book. You guys have a great day.
Okay, thank you.